going to go back to our workshop. The last item, the quarterly forecast. Dr. Robertson.
Yes, thank you. So on the screen, you'll see the quarterly forecast for 1010, and of course, we know we've got an additional item that we'll add under action on 1010, and that'll be the model policy update. You'll have a very lengthy workshop. It only looks like one, but the Department of Teaching and Learning update is lengthy, and this is the 10th. When you go to the 24th, we've got two workshops, a digital literacy update and a strategic planning process with Pia is going to give, as you know, this is the year we start developing the process to develop the next strategic plan. So you'll get a presentation on that. We have several items on information. You may get another item on information, and that is the response to the All-In Virginia plan. We're either going to be able to give you that on the 24th, or it'll go to the next meeting in November. It depends on how we're able to develop our plan, get the funding. I don't want to bring you something incomplete. So it's either going to be October 24th, or it's going to be the following meeting where we'll say, here's the money we've received, here's how we're allocating it, here's what we're doing. So you have that information. And that'll either be on the 24th or after. Yes.
For my continual learning curve, how is it that the subjects are selected that end up on the agenda? What is the process where, of all the things that you could look at on October 24th,
put your mic on.
we're going to look at these four?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So normally, from questions we've gotten from board members, there are some things that occur at the same time every year that we update the board on. Like, for example, you'll get a workshop every year on facilities update. You'll get what happened during the summer, but you get hot button issues like the digital literacy update. That's kind of related to AI as well. The strategic planning process happens every 5 years. In terms of information, things like you've got on the 24th, we have Canvas, which is one of our program evaluation schedule items. The state accreditation, federal accountability, that's when the data is released. The PRC recommendations just fall on because when the PRC meeting is. And then we've got this brand new plan from Virginia where we're receiving funds, and because we're receiving funds, we feel like we owe it to you as the fiscal body to say, okay, here's the funds we received, and this is how we plan to use them. The date is up to us in terms of when we feel like we're prepared to come to you to provide something to you that's meaningful. And then, of course, consent and action is easy because it goes back to the previous meeting on those items that require to come back for a vote. During the summer, we take a poll of board members. What do you want to see? And at the end of the summer and the retreat, what did we not cover that we want to carry forward? So,
Dr. Robertson, you have an agenda planning committee that meets.
Yeah. I meet with the chair and vice chair after every meeting as well. So then we go to November 14th. We've got the PPA interim agreement. You've got a piece of that today. Plus we have the calendar timeline. So this is an idea of we're back to developing a calendar. And we're going to lay that out to you November 14th. We go to information. We've got the strategic plan, ad hoc committee appointments, which goes in line with the whole strategic planning process. And if we don't have the presentation on the 24th around All-In Virginia, we'll have it on the 14th. On the 28th, we have a facilities update. I just mentioned that a moment ago. And then the school board legislative agenda, which always comes about this time. And information, we've got another evaluation presentation. We've got information related to the legislative agenda and, again, PRC. And then we go into December. We've got a final piece of the project financing for the PPA comprehensive agreement, a budget workshop, the forecast for the next area, and we're going to give you a DEI mid-year update on the work of that office. And so that's kind of where we are. Yes.
So you said that the workshop on the 10th was going to be late night. Is that still 4 o'clock start time?
Yeah, at 4 o'clock is good because it's only one.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
you
only
just
one.
mentioned lengthy.
It is late. It is only one workshop presentation, but it's a long one.
Okay.
It'll probably be 45 minutes, and you figure another 30 minutes of questions. It's going. Yeah.
Okay.
We have agenda planning on,
Thursday.
Thursday at 1.
I think so.
Isn't it, it's at 1, because I think that's when, well, I don't know if Carolyn will be able, so we'll have to just
Hopefully.
see.
Man, I hope she didn't have. Yeah. Hopefully.
Right.
It would be a good opportunity for Mr. Callen to experience agenda planning, so perhaps
To rotate like
have more than,
She's smiling when she says that.
Actually, in fairness to Mrs. Linetti's comment, we used to rotate every time. And I think it was during COVID that we started making it just the chair and the vice chair, because they would just because we really weren't in person, and it was, but
And that is how city council does theirs too.
they do. And then we
Their
started
mayor
mirroring
and their
city
vice
council. But
mayor.
in the beginning, we would rotate through the alphabet, so you kind of knew what was coming up. Yeah.
I mean, you're welcome to, come and plan with us, or do it by, Zoom. I'll probably be able to come.
as long as
Depending
it's
on-
not 3 of you. 3 of you, we gotta give notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be, I mean, if Carolyn can't be there.
I wear a fake mustache and eyeglasses.
I don't know, we'll find out if Carolyn can be there. Yes, you may.
At the past 2 PRC meetings, we have had a discussion concerning culturally responsive teaching. And one of our particular policies has been held up because Ms. Brown continues to ask, what does that mean? She has asked us not to vote on that particular thing. It had to do with teacher evaluation, I believe. And so she's unclear about what culturally responsive teaching really means, and she's asked to have it done in a workshop to explain to us what it means. Now, I'm not sure if we need a full workshop or if we just need we need something though. But however, we're meeting on the 9th again. So maybe if you could be there, or if you could have somebody come and talk to us so that we can move that particular policy forward.
I was going to say, since the meeting's on the 9th, I was going to say on the 10th, I could have Ms. Colucci add how we've woven that piece into the teaching and learning response.
Okay.
But that's not going to help you on the 9th.
No, it won't.
It'll help the rest of you, yes.
We just sort of need a good explanation. Maybe we could have her come on the 9th,
Yeah,
and
I'm
she could give us a good explanation about it.
Yes, we can, we can definitely provide you a much more detailed explanation.
Okay.
I think Ms. Brown has a question.
Yeah, so, I don't know if it's Mr. or Dr., Mr. Delaney?
Mr. Delaney, yes.
Mr. Delaney, he was at our meeting and he mentioned that there was going to be a workshop, presentation, explaining how that's interwoven, so that we could, be able to move that forward.
Yeah, so Mr. Delaney shared with me that you guys had had that conversation, and I had not received any formal requests. So, now that I've got the 2 of the 3 members of the PRC sitting right here, I can consider that as a formal request. And we'll make sure we have someone in that meeting on the 9th that can give you a more detailed explanation. The state did create language around a new standard, culture responsive teaching practices, and developed a rubric and kind of put it upon us. And then we've been working on how to create professional learning around that. So, and that was brand new last year.
Thank you. So, we're adjourning this part of the meeting, administrative matters, and we're going to be reading into closed. Remember not to turn your mics on for closed.
I move that the school board recess into closed session in accordance with the exceptions to open meeting laws set forth in Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711, Part A, Paragraph 1, 7, and 8, as amended, to deliberate on the following matters. 1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and evaluation of performance of departments or schools of public institutions of higher education where such evaluation will necessarily involve discussion of the performance of specific individuals. 7, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. For the purposes of this subdivision, probable litigation means litigation that has been specifically threatened or on which the public body or its legal counsel has a reasonable basis to believe will be commenced by or against a known party. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. 8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. Namely, to discuss that the school board recess into closed session in accordance with the exceptions to open meeting laws set forth a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. Namely, to discuss A, status of employee matters, teacher revocation, employee ADA complaint, status of hiring certain administrators. B, status of pending litigation or administrative cases. C, consultation with legal counsel regarding probable litigation and pending litigation matters. I need a motion. Oh, I moved. I need a second.
Okay.
Who was that?
So it's seconded by Mrs. Brown. Motion made by Mrs. Melnick, seconded by Mrs. Brown. Okay. All in favor of going into closed session, please raise your hand.
Madam Chair, we have 8 ayes. The motion did pass.
And you did tell Mr. Culpepper that he's no longer.
Mr. Culpepper is already offline.
Okay, thank
Zoom
you.
has been stopped.
Okay, thanks.
I'm not going to cover everything I was going to cover. There's one thing I really need to get done.
Read out a close for us.
Whereas the school board of the city of Virginia Beach has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the school board of the city of Virginia Beach hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, that only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. I need a motion.
Need a motion? Need a motion? Ms. Franklin and seconded by Mr. Collin. All in favor of coming out of close, please raise your hand.
We have 8 ayes. The motion did pass.
Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to make the following motion. The school board directs the acting superintendent or designees to meet with Mr. St. Clair Jones and to take appropriate actions to provide ADA-compliant restrooms or portable restrooms at school division high school sporting facilities within a reasonable time frame. Do I have a second? Ms. Martin. All that are in favor, please raise your hand for this motion.
We have 7 ayes.
All that are against? Okay. Do I have any abstentions?
And we have 1 abstention, so the motion did pass.
Okay, thank you. This closed session is adjourned.